Howdy. So I am walking down the road and I'm going slow because my back is still giving me issues. Um, so yeah. um, I'm hoping it clears up soon, but it's like doesn't that's- um. So anyway, if I make weird faces, most likely they have to do with the back thing. Um, I don't know. You'll have to just kind of glean it from the context. Anyway, so I've been doing a lot of thinking, as I am wont to do, and I was I'm gonna cross the street, I think. Maybe not. So I don't know why I had to whisper that. So this morning, I've been getting there are things that I'm feeling a lot of anxiety um as a reaction to was not a well constructed sentence. Um but anyway, lots of anxious feelings happening lately and kind of been at kind of lost on how to deal with it. I mean, I know relax release, right? All that fun stuff. But my thinking was very um my thinking was very limited on it. It was old thinking, not the new thinking. I was old thinking. So this morning I meditated and I prayed, and during that time, I've been listening to a lot of spiritual stuff. Oh, look at that! That's nice. Just gonna call attention to whatever. Everybody. I know I have a zit, so don't stare at it thinking, "Hey, she's got a zit." I got a zit. I know. I know. So we'll just take it from the side, shall we? And so I was meditating and praying, and my concept of God is different from others, as pretty much everyone's is really different from each other's, even if they are whatever. But I'm not gonna get into that right now. Um, but I'm basically a panentheist, and I have been for a long time. Quite proud of myself about that, actually. I figured that out in college, so this is a little not humble. I figured that out in college, and then recently learning more about quantum physics, and I was like, I'm right scientifically. I'm right. So anyway, I've been thinking I'm going to start really studying more about quantum physics because it is the study of God, and I'd like to understand that more. But the basic idea here being that everything I was lying. I've been lying because I'm lying down rather than sitting up to meditate because of my back. Um, but I was lying down and I was just thinking about how the everything that we perceive as matter is actually energy. Because when you get down to the quantum level, it's energy. It's not actual matter. Um, so you've got these quantum filaments or whatever it is. I gotta get you know, well acquainted with the language here. But but sorry, I've got to focus. I am focusing. I'm focusing right now. See, I'm focusing. Um, I have not put moisturizer on my face today, and I can feel that. Anyway, focus. So the thing about it is you've got these quantum particles, or not particles, filaments, whatever they are, um, that just all kind of came out with the Big Bang, right? Like just this soup of plasma, from my understanding, which was basically all these particles out of nowhere. I mean, out of nowhere. It's crazy. And over billions of years, they would be collected together and formed atoms, and the atoms formed whatever they formed. This is my understanding of it. Don't quote me. I get the understanding from atoms up, but like the quantum level, I'm still figuring that out. Anyway, the point is these quantum filaments. I'm going to call them filaments for now. I don't know what they are. Particles, waves, whatever. Um, they are what create the atoms. They're which is what creates the matter and air and everything else that we have. But really, they're just collections of very specifically well organized quantum things. Aging before my eyes. Um, so I was thinking about that and how like everything in the universe is just organized quantum level things. And how that, I mean, and this is not a new thought, how that makes everything in the universe one, the same thing, right? Because we are. And how that all came out at the Big Bang. And what they say, I don't know how much I can wrap my brain around this one, but what they say is like smaller than an atom. All the stuff in the universe came out of that. Uh, Bizarre. But so that is like the world at a physical level. Um, that's like how the physical form of the universe manifests. Um, but there's something beyond that, right? Like, because our consciousness is not, it's not quantum particles or waves or whatever. It's energy. So again, we're back to energy, but it's on a different level, right? Our consciousness is not these quantum things. It is something different. We don't know what it is yet, but I'm sure at some point, if the universe goes long enough, I'm not going to get into climate change, that we'll figure out how to measure it. um, but you know, it's interesting that like things had to come together as they did to create everything until the point of human beings developing and are having brains that can be like however our consciousness is attached to our bodies. I mean, it took our brain, or at least similar brains, like how many animals are conscious on um, this planet. We don't know, but we know that so far it seems like we are the only ones who know that we are aware that we are aware that we are aware, which is a sentence you have to think about. And it's it's interesting. Anyway, so I'm there thinking like, okay, so there's the universe on the physical level, right? Which is these quantum particles that in my mind I see as like sand on a beach, and you put the sand into like those pails that are like shaped like a sandcastle. You can put the sand in the sandcastle pail. You turn it over, and it's just like it's a form. That's kind of how I'm conceiving of this right now. Only obviously much more complex. But sorry. Um, that was really after that. There's the thought of, well, okay, so that's the physical. Then what about this consciousness, right? And what about whatever consciousness it is that created everything? Is it would make sense that it's made from the same energy? I mean, again, not original thoughts, just like a deeper understanding of them. So, sorry, I'm being distracted by my surroundings in my back and what I'm trying to say. So, there's this other level to the universe that's not the physical world, right? It's the energetic world of consciousness. And one would not assume, one might think, I would postulate that it is possible that the consciousness, the mind that, whatever, this consciousness that was that intelligence that created the universe, because that's smart. um, that's the energy, that's the consciousness that, well, it's just so weird thinking about it all just coming into being for no reason. They're like, okay, so that's God. Okay, cool. Um, but coming from absolutely nothing, which we can't really conceive of, I picture it as just blackness, the blackness of space without stars and stuff in it. That's kind of how I figure it. It was. But how was that anything? It's just, yeah, it's a mind. Um, but what what the point here is that there's this, whatever that was, whatever that caused that, whatever that created that, that is obviously an explosive energy that is beyond comprehension. And it would stand to reason that, so that that's a different plane, right? Like that's a different, not reality. It's like the reality that's also coexisting with this reality. Um, but it's not physical. And it's the spiritual, right? I mean, so we come from that and we go back to that, right? Anyway, the point, I have gone way off track. um, the point that I was making, what is it? So, quantum physics were just rearrangements of particles. So there must be something else on a different realm that our consciousness is a part of. And I don't remember how I came to this, but hopefully I'll remember during this conversation. Um, sort of realized that, like, something about that made me realize that reality, right? The stuff that reality is made of. These quantum elements are arranged the way they are in this moment, and they're never going to be like that again. And I am arranged quantum elements coexisting, basically the same thing as everything else around me, only not. um, but it slammed into me. I wish I had done it live at the time. Just how, if our physical being, quantum arrangement, is existing at this moment in time, with everything else that's existing at this moment in time, this is the only, as far as we know, this is the only moment in time there is, um, because now versus in the future and in the past are, now's real, future and past not real, not in actual reality, not actually manifested. The past, and this is where I was kind of, where my brain was going, the past happened. I mean, I know it sounds silly, but I understood this on a different level. The past happened. Those particles were arranged in that way for that period of time, and that's what happened. And now they're not like that anymore. Whether it be particles or relationships or whatever. Those things that are in the past do not actually exist right now. And I go around as though they do in my head. And that's the only place that they actually exist, right? I'm speaking as if you have paid attention to any of these. I don't know if you have. But brief summary: had a boyfriend. We were in love. It was awesome. Had to break up because of circumstances. Basically, his mom was Egyptian, so he had to marry. Broke up last year, and he got engaged for his marriage. I don't know if it was the beginning of this year or the very end of last year. Only a couple months after last time. We don't need the qualifier. Fact of the matter is, so he got married in July, and I found out about it sometime in August, and it threw me for a loop because I was still living in this drama that I never left. He had to, and I'm glad that he has. I don't want him or his wife sad because, whatever. And by his wife, I mean, like, if I want him to be able to attend to his wife the way he attended to me, and he would be able to do that if he was still thinking about me. and, um, and I know that he's not. I know that he's not. And I know that his really hurts that, right? It really hurts. I try not to think too much about their life together and what it must be like, and just like all these things, what they're probably doing right now, visas and whatever. Um, because that's not part of my life anymore, and that's the part that I'm having to let go of. Because the thing is too, like you realize the other person's not thinking this. This is like entirely in my head, and I'm in his past. So why is he still in my present? In the sense of being in my head, right? That's not actually what's happening. It's something I'm making up that's making me suffer. Anyway, I'm circling around this truth that I came to this morning, what I should have written down at least. But just sitting there and contemplating the nature of the universe and quantum physics and how I was myself. This is what it was. So my soul, right? My consciousness came into attached itself to my body at some point in the gestation period. Maybe it's when we take our first breath. I don't know what it is. We don't know. But at some point, my consciousness became attached to this body, and made possible through my mind, which is interesting. It's just interesting. Not my mind, my brain. So the point is, I keep distracting myself. So many distracting thoughts. Okay. So my consciousness came in, and it is a part of a different, I'm like, not realm, but different phase, a different level. But I'm just gonna use level for right now, of reality. See, like lots of pain, not just my back, it's just like letting go of shit. So I came into this body, and the purpose there is to experience this life in the physical realm, right? Because when I'm not attached to this body, I'm in the other realm, or whatever it is. I am not there. There's a word, and it's going to come to me. But I exist in that, wherever that is, or however that is. I don't know. But that's where we all exist, right? That's where God's in everything. But that's where that comes from, where our consciousness comes from, this energy, this source. And then I chose, my consciousness chose to come down into this body. And that's so that I could experience life, not so that I could experience what's in my brain. It's so I could experience the physical reality of what is going on right now. Right? That's the whole point. This is the point. Right? So the reason that we're in these bodies, the reason that we've got this consciousness attached to our bodies is to come in and experience the other quantum particles as they rearrange themselves in their various shapes and sizes and organizations and atoms and things and trees and breezes and whatever. We're supposed to be. That's what we're supposed to be doing. And I know, again, this is not an original thought. You know what I mean? This is actually stuff that I've been listening to for years. Shit, guys. Oh, when you live in the past in your brain, it does not seem like the past. Doesn't seem like that long ago. But it wasn't, honestly. Like, we still saw each other after that for about a year. Yeah, more than about a year. So, but this is still, we're still talking about a year ago, a little less than a year ago was the last time we talked. But it doesn't seem that way. Anyway, point is, again, see, getting caught up in the past, that's not what's happening. That's not reality. My consciousness did not come to this plane, is that what it is? Plane of existence, so that I could be obsessed and caught in a different existence. That's not actually reality, but it's just something my brains feels like talking about or thinking about. And of course, these are habits and different different habits of thought, right? They're different ways that I'm used to thinking, and I'm working on breaking myself from them or letting them go. Let's just letting them go. And it's always, you think you do, and then it comes on a deeper level. But so I was just sitting there thinking about that. Like, this is the river face, this breeze. I love breezes when they get with my skin. I love that this time of year, the warmer parts of the year in Massachusetts, because the colder times you have to bundle everything up and your skin is not exposed to the air. Which I think, honestly, not to get too off topic here, um, not to get too off topic here, but I do think that weather in England is the best weather, except the fact that we have climate change. But as far as like half the year is cold, half the year is warmish, like there's so much variance. And then also you can't appreciate like the warmth and the sunlight and the breeze on your skin. You don't appreciate the way, like in Florida, you don't appreciate it the way you appreciate it up here. You just don't. I can't imagine. Well, I am not someone who has experience year round in Florida or anything like that. I imagine that the appreciation of these things is different because if you're used to it, you don't. Just from my experience being used to things, that's why I think. Oh my God, I am getting old. Not old, but like no, I'm not. I'm young. I'm 28, just like the 15th time. Or like 17th. And so I was sitting there thinking about this, being this consciousness that is now attached to the physical plane, and how it's like, how disappointing will it be when I die and go back to the other plane? And I'm like, I spent the entire time not experiencing what I went down there to experience. That sucks. So I'm really working on, that's something I've prayed about. I felt, and I want to cultivate this more, but it felt I was able to be more mindful. I was able to be in the moment. I was able to share my existence with the things that were around me and existing in the same time and space. um, this thing is looking terrible today. Oh, okay. Okay. Yep. I'm just gonna have to do some rehauls on skincare. Anyway, sorry. Probably going without. Anyway, so I was sitting there and feeling, like really allowing myself to be in the moment. And then, also praying that I could incorporate this into my life more. Like that I could actually train myself to live there rather than in my head. I don't know if that's possible because people have time. And then people get stories about it. They'll show us how to go there. So that's what. Anyway. So there's another step to this. So I was praying about it, and so stuff started coming up, and I honestly don't know what the stuff was. I don't know what it was attached to. I don't think it was attached to the ex-boyfriend at prom thing. I just never let that go. We'd almost broken up so many times, and then he'd always come back. And I just always had that in my mind. But I am letting that go. I have let that go. I have let that go. Um, so, so many distractions. Gosh. So I am working on it. Oh, okay. So, yeah. So I started crying a lot, it was interesting because I was feeling. I didn't know what I was feeling. I didn't know what it was attached to, but I was able to really watch myself as I cried and just be like, oh, this is interesting. I'll just allow myself to cry. I'm not sure what it's all about, but whatever. We'll just do it. And so that was that. And then there was something else. What was it? What else was it? Prayer. Yeah. So I mean, like basically, just, praying and working on being more. Oh, right. So because of that realization of being in the moment, my mind started to shift a little um, in regards to the way it was thinking about reality and the future, and specifically having to do with the anxiety I have about the future and the thoughts that I have, right? And again, not a new idea. In fact, something that I'm being told daily. I just haven't cottoned on to it yet. Is that if you expect something good to happen, this is I'm listening. I'm still kind of working with the book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Kind of doing some meditations in the morning and the journaling exercises, the writing exercises and stuff like that. So I'm working with that. And it just occurred to me that I can choose to be happy. And it doesn't feel like that at every moment. But instead of worrying about all the bad things that, like, oh God, the world's set up in such a way in my life to make this or that inevitable. And like that's not a like meaning basically like, oh, we haven't had a new client in a long time. The money's running out for the company, the money's running out for me. I mean, it has. And there's no real relief inside, basically. And just kind of freaking out about the consequences of that, like paying my writers, and, being able to pay for my own life. To this point, I haven't checked the bank account today, but I'm guessing I'm overdrawn. Um, so, just living that reality, that's not a reality either, right? That's not reality either. That is, again, just like my thoughts about the past, is something it's not even that, because the past at least existed. You know what I mean? It's like, if, um, if my consciousness, oh, we're back. um, but if, if I am in this moment and I am experiencing my relation to the other things in reality in this moment, this stuff that I'm worrying about in the past on my back and like my head. It's like I'm old, only I'm not. Um, it's just the anxiety thing, and then I kind of so much tension in my back. So I took like a little ball and I kind of rolled my back around it, and I actually really loosened up all these knots that have been in there for a really long time. But I probably overdid it, and now like it kind of swung the other way, and it's like, oh, probably loosened it up too much because the tension is what was keeping it standing up straight. And now it's like, oh, it's not tense, but it's also not strong. So, I probably should do some exercising, but I can't do exercising right now very much until it gets better because I'll just hurt it more. Anyway, point being, see it again, living in the future, right? Not actually what's happening right now. What's happening right now is I'm having a very pleasant walk and a very pleasant conversation with you all out there. But yeah, I mean, like, look at this place, right? Like inside the city, I love it here. I love this neighborhood. Um, like seriously. uh, but so if I'm going to, and again, not a new thought, things that I've been that have been said to me like multiple times a day for like 2 years. But if I'm going to choose to have an alternate reality in my head about the future, which isn't here yet, why would I choose one that's freaking me out? Now, granted, that doesn't. It's not like that's a magic wand. I wave it and I feel better. But I was more attached to the idea of. Because another thing, breaking the habit of being yourself talks about is the observer bias, right? Where if you're actually observing quantum particle waves, things, they change according to what you are expecting them to do. And that's all we're made out of. So not only, what you focus on, you get more of, but like literally, you're creating it. um, so why not create something better? So I got this just feeling of like, um, but what is going on with my skin? Um, so I'm thinking like, okay, well, let's think about things as they could be, like, because the reality is, sure, that stuff might happen, but you know what? I could get 2 clients today out of nowhere. Who knows? Who knows? The universe is crazy. But the universe is taking care of me, right? The universe is taking care of all of us if we let it, if we get out of our own ways, because if we try and control things, that's our free will. That's my back. Um, the universe will back off in a way to allow for our free will, right? So if we try and take the reins, the universe is like, okay, you go ahead. And that just has not worked out well for me. I don't know about you guys, but that has not worked out well for me. But if I allow it to do what it's doing and do what it's going to do, look how beautiful this is, right? Do you see the little house there? That's a wide-angled lens. You don't see it exactly the way I'm seeing it, but it's really cool. So why not work at rearranging the quantum world into a shape and form and reality that I would rather have than the stuff that I'm thinking in my head. And that made me like not only happier and like alive with possibility, but it made me want to do stuff more. You know what I mean? Like it's not new. These are all thoughts. Not only are they thoughts that are not new, but they're thoughts that have been like pounded into me, or not, but repeated very often around me in books that I've read and the people that I've been talking to for several couple of years now. These are the precepts that they're talking about, and I just never really understood them to this level. And I hope to cultivate the ability to stay in that rather than to keep waffling back and forth, because the anxiety thing is a real drag. But what it did when I actually thought, actually the possibility of this, and this, and just this likely, it made me really feel capable of more. It made me more excited rather than being anxious about it, and therefore honestly like avoiding it because I'm feeling overwhelmed and anxious. I was like, yeah, this is gonna happen, and so I was more motivated, let's just say, rather than fear driven. Um, I don't know if I'm going to move back to the house with my back. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to sit down, see if that helps for a minute. Um, okay. Oh, wow. Okay, so I'm going to sit far back. Okay, yep, no. I really want to get back into shooting, but I can't do anything. It's I need to, okay. Hang on. Oh, oh wow. I'm so uncomfortable right now. Okay. So I'm just gonna have to kind of lean over my knees and try and stretch this out because it's not good. Um, so I'm just gonna slowly release my back, right? The way I'm slowly releasing my. Oh, maybe that's a universe being tricksy thing. It's like release the tension in the back, release it so you stop getting so uptight, and it stops hurting as much. I'm just gonna kind of wait. I see this is what I'm doing. Well, you can't really see, but I am. There's my. Oh. Okay, you're back. The point is, I really need to just allow it to be what it is. Anyway, so those are the thoughts that I've been having, and sorry, I'm distracted today. These are the things that I'm thinking, and I do feel things are more possible when I'm working on them, but I will strongly recommend the book Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. I have yet to finish it. The end part is about this like 6-week meditation process that you go through that like you do a lot of stuff, and so it's about shifting your brain waves and getting into a different mental state to help yourself manifest what you want in life and stop yourself from manifesting in being unhappy, basically manifesting the negative stuff and sticking to those habits that cause you to be unhappy, those robotic programs in your brain that just take over and you lose yourself into, right? It's like we're robots and we've got this programming and we're not even conscious enough. We go through our life with these programs in our brain. Hey. So, anyway, that's what I'm going to leave you with right now because I cannot think very clearly because of all the distractions. I could think clearly. I'm working on it. Okay, so let's see. So yeah, sorry, this is slow and this is dragging on, but my takeaway was like, okay, I'm gonna get my vision board together again, and these things that I want to happen can happen, and I'm excited. Like again, the whole like happening for me, not to me thing. Like there's different levels of understanding of that, and this morning I was finally thinking, oh, I get to do this stuff. I get to own my own company. I get to be the boss. I get to put these things together. I mean, that's pretty cool, right? I get to put together this system that no one has done as far as I know yet. I mean, it's not brilliant. It's not like no one could come up with it. I just don't know who has. So and I'm hiring these cool people and just starting this really cool work culture and helping people with these books, right? So I was thinking about getting to do that, and then that gets mixed up with like things about the future where I'm like, um, but it's all okay. The point is, I love starting a sentence and not knowing how I'm going to finish it off. But the point here is, the reality is what's going on right now. And what's happening to you right now is wherever your body is in relation to whatever arrangement of particles there is around you. It's so beautiful here. I hope, like, I just love this area. I really want to be able to stay in here. So one of the things I was thinking about was, I'm going to have to move at the end of October or the beginning of November because of a lot of different things. But that's sort of the time frame I have to find a place. And I'm like, you know what? Who knows? Maybe I'll find okay, reality. But why not think that it's possible that I am going to find like a 3 or 4 unit multifamily in this neighborhood that I love so much. That I can get purchased for using none of my own money because I don't have any. So who knows? I mean, that might come up. You don't know. The universe is crazy like that. But wherever I'm going to think, I'm going to keep that thought in my head, but also, take actions towards whatever it is that I need to do. But also just be happy to be led by the universe. There's a lot. See, this is the thing. I did a lot of thinking this morning, and I'm trying to sum it up at the end of the day, and it's not working because there's a billion things that I was thinking. So I'll get back to you later on some of it. But I am grateful for all the things in my life that have caused things to be the way they are, and I'm just grateful for everything. I want to feel more though. So I'm just going to remind you guys that, regardless of whatever is going on in your brain, you can choose to think of it differently. You can choose to see reality differently. You can choose to see reality for what reality is, at least as close as our human minds can comprehend it, as opposed to creating a reality that doesn't actually exist and then freaking out about it. So I'm grateful for that realization. I'm grateful for that awareness, and I'm grateful for you guys. And I'm just going to remind you guys that you can always choose to have a grateful day.